You're live.
Yo, what's going on? What's going on? Let's get everybody in. Rise live. Sorry for the late notice there, folks. Let's see the chat here. Theo B, what's going on, man? How you
What's
doing?
going on, man? Glad to be here. Glad to be here. Always glad to be here.
Oh, for sure. A few things up here.
I'm in a great mood, man. You know, Georgia Bulldogs doing what they do.
Hey, congrats. Congrats.
I ain't gonna act
That
like I'm.
was a hell of a win. That was a hell of a win. Impressive win. Look out Tennessee. Made them look bad too. That was a good win. That was a dominating win.
Listen, I like what Kirby said. They had a game plan and the defense bought into it.
Sure.
Like the
How it should be if everybody judging the way that they should judge, it should be your team, then my team at number two. But we know that's not how the national media, views my team. So
I think definitely Ohio State should be ranked number 2 right now. I'm like Clemson lost yesterday.
oh, you
Uh,
crazy as hell.
huh?
You think Ohio State should be too, not us?
No, I'm saying like. Wait, hold on, my bad. No, Michigan number 2. Michigan number 2.
Yeah. Give me some of that. Yeah. RESPECT.
My bad. Yeah, I like Georgia 1, Michigan 2. Um, Ohio State had a tough game yesterday against Wisconsin, not Wisconsin, but
Northwestern.
Northwestern. Mm. Oregon is looking pretty good. Not Texas, A&M because they just lost their 5th game. TCU is looking pretty good.
Trash.
So I can't put Oregon ahead of Ohio State because they haven't lost.
Mm-mm.
TCU, I believe, has lost 2 games.
Undefeated.
Huh?
Undefeated. TCU undefeated.
So so I got 2 teams out the Big Ten. I got 1 team out the SEC, and I got 1 team out the Big 12. Yeah,
That's what I had. I had Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, TCU. That's my top 4.
yeah, I like that. Clemson went down yesterday. Tennessee went down yesterday. Alabama went down again. Boy, look.
Ooh, we got 2 losses on Alabama in November. Sheesh. Sheesh.
Listen,
Go ahead, bro.
no, I don't. Alabama, y'all lost 2 games. I don't know the last time I seen Alabama lose 2 games in the season.
Well, hey, that's one less monster we got to look at in the top 4. So I'm okay with it. I'd
Here's the
much
thing.
rather be looking at TCU than Bama. So
My question is because Paul Feinbaum said, I think we looked at last year's Alabama team. That was a down year for Alabama. I think the transfer portal is proving a little bit trickier for Nick Saban to navigate based on his complaints about it. So if last year was a down year, and you lost 2 games last year, Alabama. You lost to Texas A&M, and then you lost to Georgia. So that's 2 games.
yep.
You lost to Tennessee already this year, and you lost to Tennessee, and you lost to LSU. Ole Miss is still up on the docket. They are. And if you're Alabama, are you really that good if Bryce Young goes down?
Yeah, gonna have to see.
Like
If that happens at all.
I don't see another quarterback after Bryce Young. You know how they've had quarterbacks on deck.
Mm-hmm.
I don't be another quarterback on deck, and your defense, aside from your front seven is playing phenomenal. But the question then gets asked: how did your secondary get exposed like that, and Georgia's did? A team that sent 15 starters to 15, 15, 5 off the defense to the NFL starters. How is that secondary better than yours?
That'll be a question for another stream.
We got it. We got it. Let's go ahead and get started.
We're gonna talk about these comic books.
Yes, sir.
So I think we got 11 people in here. It's good enough to get started with. Appreciate everybody.
Yeah,
Greg Myers, M. Nunez. Appreciate you both. Let's see. Where do you want to start with, man? We got Judgment Day. We got the finale to Judgment Day, number 6. And then we got X-Men Red is the other book that we'll be doing before we preview the Brian Edward Hill one shot that's coming out this week. Which book do you want to review first?
Man, you know what? I would like to say, I believe in saving the best for last. So let's say Judgment Day for last.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So starting with X-Men Red, obviously this is in the aftermath of what happens in the next book that we'll review on Judgment Day, but it's a little bit more isolated in that it's more so focused on the scheming of one Abigail Brand and how she's kind of been tracked down by Cable.
Right,
Not
right.
just Cable, but the entire SOAR crew outside. It seemed like outside of Fabian and Mantelo, it seemed like everybody else is on the up and up about what's going on with Brand. We are where are we at? Let me take a look here. Gosnell's Bar. Okay, some bar in outer space where mercenaries hang out. It looks like Cable and Cora the Burning Heart are coming in to talk to Cora the Burning Heart's sister. She's mentioning her father coming out of the darkness. Cora the Burning Heart's sister, I mean, is
Right.
mentioning some kind of spat with their father and how he doesn't want to see her anymore. And he just recently came out of the dark. Is Fisher King Cora the Burning Heart's father? Are they talking about Fisher King coming out of the darkness? One of the seats of night coming out of the darkness? Is that what she's talking about?
I'm gonna apologize because I was looking at the bunny and I was thinking about what type of team him and Rocket Raccoon would make if they did a comic book on that one. Apologize. But now that you asked the question, they gotta tie up the Fisher King in some type of way, right?
Somewhere, right?
You gotta, and that would be an intriguing plot point because then it would beg the question. No, seriously, what are your powers for real? Like, no, seriously, what are your powers for real?
I know it's something. I know he's just not a base level human. I know that's not what it is. And I don't know why they're taking so long getting to telling us what exactly is going on over there, but
even she mentioned she's
not
like
a base level human for sure.
In the moral lands, maybe with the artists and dreamers, but art wasn't what I dreamed of in the prison. So I'm like, there could be that connection there because I'm like, why would you make that reference?
And you know where Fisher King's origin started in the prisons of A.X.E, right? So right. It's likely. We haven't got a confirmation yet, but I'd say likely at this point. So it seems like at the end of this conversation, Cable is basically trying to recruit, right, and add her to his list of. He's trying to recruit Weaponless, is her name, Weaponless Zen, to his plight against Abigail Brand. The one thing that I've kind of enjoyed about X-Men Red so far is that they can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Yes.
They've been all up and through this Judgment Day storyline without dropping the ball on their main plot. Right? It doesn't feel like we've missed all that much time from this situation in the midst of the last 4 weeks being all about Judgment Day.
You know, it's safe to say something like well, what we didn't get with the with one of the X-Men titles. They've actually managed to keep everything flowing consistently time-wise. Like, you know, aside from the fact that we're gonna review Judgment Day last, these events, the way they're playing out, played along. They coincided with Judgment Day. and this book takes place after Judgment Day. So I think they did a great job.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. If you've been keeping up with the events of Marauders and what's been going on, I think that's Steve Orlando that's doing Marauders. I got a Marauders book somewhere over here. I'll find it. I'll let you know in a second. But if you've been keeping up with the events of that book, there's this whole saga that's been going on with the Shi'ar and the scrolls, the Empire essentially, where basically a millennia ago there was certain conflicts that were started, there were backroom deals that were made, there were betrayals that were made by the Shi'ar to initiate, wars and mass killings and all kinds of stuff. They call it their what did they call it? What was it? It was the damn it. It was one of their like deadly sins, I guess. If I can't think of the name of it right now, but they called it something in particular, and it was like 10 of them, and it was 10 sins that basically the Shi'ar had perpetuated on their way to becoming the empire that they are. One of those things being that they actually started the Kree Skrull War.
The 10 shames. The 10 shames.
There you go. The 10 shames. There it is. But and one of those is that they essentially started it during a great time of peace, and it seemed like everybody was coming together, and we were getting ready to be done with this. The Shi'ar planted rumors about amassing forces on the Skrull side, which then led them to war that's perpetuated all the way up until the point of the Empire. And now that they found that information out, now that it's out in the zeitgeist, they're threatening aggression. The Skrulls are, you know. It's interesting to see who actually shows up to the diplomatic meeting that they're getting ready to have over this. So Empress Xandra is showing up, right? Gladiator's there, Deathbird is there, so she got her security detail. Super Skrull, which you
If
would
I
think
may,
is good, but
if I may, real quick, because I want to let the readers know, because we went a lot in detail right there. Not the readers, but the people that's rocking with us and everything like that. Essentially, the Shi'ar started a war between the Skrulls and the Kree. They told the Kree that the Skrulls were making biological weapons. The Kree stepped in. They murdered hundreds, if not thousands, of Skrulls who couldn't even shapeshift. And the Shi'ar did that just to forge, I guess, some type of unholy alliance. And
that's
now
what it was. Yeah, it wasn't okay. Yeah. Okay,
so
that's what it
now,
was. They hit that hospital. That's what
right.
all it was. Yeah.
And so now that they know, Pybot knows and everything like that, it's like, oh well, it's hands off now. Like I don't know how y'all finna make this right, but if y'all don't make this right, it's gonna go down.
I don't
It's
know
gonna
why I'm remembering all of this. Like I don't have this comic book sitting right here in front of my face. They planted the information so that the Kree would attack it, right? Not knowing that it was just a hospital, and that's what restarted the fighting, right? The aggressions between the two sides. That's what it was. I needed your brain and mine to put that together for some reason. Um, so Super Skrull's not there. Pybok is. Aurora the Storm is not there. Doesn't even give a reason. Frenzy is present. So is Nova. No T'Challa this time. I think it's because it don't concern him in any way, shape, or form, or the intergalactic empire.
yeah,
No
I,
T'Challa
probably
this
not.
time.
I'm with that. Like it doesn't concern them.
Don't concern him in the least bit. Plus, he got his own stuff going on. Poe baby over there with Ridley. Um. So wait. Quick side note: Ibok and Frenzy. Mm,
That's been like a running theme since me and you've been
mm,
reading the Reds.
I,
You've been reading forward. Like it's clear that she has a thing for Scott Summers, and I just know what, I'm not even gonna do that. That's another story.
but she
But
can't. They never gonna let that happen. It's not going to happen. Even if it does happen, it's gonna be extremely brief. And
that's,
and
that's
and and so they got to give her somebody. But damn, Pybok, she can't even get a human, huh? It's a tough day for a mutant out here, apparently.
who is Bishop with right now? Who Bishop kicking with right Okay.
Yeah, I was about to say no one. I don't think nobody. They perfect for each other. That's the point you're trying to get me on, huh?
Oh, okay.
I think they're gonna eventually make Bishop and Kate Pride be a thing, but I don't know. That's just kind of me throwing shots in the dark based off of what I seen in Marauders, though. They send each other notes. It's a real cute thing.
I mean,
But
hey, hey. Go
you
ahead, go
with
ahead,
it?
go ahead.
Okay. You get another shot here of Abigail Brand kind of monitoring the whole situation, kind of seeing who's present, who's not. It's seeming like she's moving these pieces into place for a specific reason. We don't
Right.
get quite the information right now as to why, but she's clearly behind the orchestration of this meeting. It seems like for sure.
Emphasis on the not right now.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Quick shots of the the Kree blowing up the scroll hospital or rehab center, for the non-changing scrolls. Gladiator and Pybok exchange words about it. Gladiator plays dumb, plays the hell out of crazy, and here comes Xandra and Deathbird, and the Mother Goose has walked in. Right, the one piece that Abigail Brand down there was waiting on has arrived. She's not really with because of her experiences in the Marauders book, right? Like she died a little bit ago. I don't know if that was in Marauders or not. We reviewed that on here, but we don't review Marauders.
You know what? I'm curious. I'm
How did we
curious.
even get to that? But she did die a little bit ago behind these 10 shames.
I'm I'm
Uh,
I'm curious. This is Charles's daughter.
right,
She's a mutant.
right. That's how they brought her back.
She's a. I almost want to say she's an Omega level telepath. If not,
She's not
she's a
Omega
trip.
level, but she's a powerful one for sure.
My question is, and see, this is when I look at writers. What's going on if she don't know what people doing? She don't know people's thoughts. Like I get it. I know she's supposed to be like morally. I just wouldn't do that. But she knows she was assassinated. So what is it to prevent her from knowing everything that's going on, even with Abigail Brand?
Well, she ain't been in Abigail Brand's vicinity to read her mind. It didn't seem like they've been around each other for that to even be a question. And
I guess
then
my
on
point is,
top of that though, you got to think, right? So they killed her. The people that killed her was the very people trying to keep the secret.
right,
The something crimson, like
right,
that were kind of like her honor guard or whatever. They look like the red guards from Star Wars.
right,
Right, them dudes, them's the ones that killed her, the ones that were keeping the deadly shames or the 10 shames secret. That's who killed her, not the mutants, not the Kree, not the Scroll, not anybody, not the Shi'ar. It was the Crimson who did that to her. So, seeing as how that is, and they were the ones trying to uphold that secret, she's going to want to do everything that's the antithesis of them coming out of that. Coming out of that, I don't know if she would necessarily have a distrust for the mutants to the point where, like, all right, did y'all have anything to do with it? And I don't even think, from what we see in this book, I don't want to spoil too much, but it doesn't seem like Abigail Brand was involved in that. She kind of just lucked
no,
into
no,
it.
not at all. What I'm saying is,
Yeah.
and so I apologize if that's why I was leaving you. What I'm saying is, okay, we know Abigail Brand has, she died and everything like that. She's been brought back through the resurrection protocols. That's
Right.
how Cable and Weird Kid were able to say, okay, we're gonna keep dampeners on her. I'm asking myself, you just been assassinated without saying we want information overload. My mind would be an open book. Like I would be, I guess, weary, using my telepathy, scanning for stray thoughts of hostility towards me, if you will.
But how would she pick up on that? First of all, we don't know if she even has the outward limits to do something like
And
that. For
that's why I
somebody who's
said,
not in her vicinity. But off top though, why? Why would she just start scanning? Because at that point, you paranoid. Now you just out here looking for people who wish ill on you, which you might find something you didn't even want to find in the first place.
well, watch this. I don't always listen intently, but sometimes I do pick up stray comments. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And that's, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying for her to be actively doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like I would just be like, okay, somebody just tried to kill me. I should be more aware of my surroundings. So, and definitely I understand what you're saying in regards to her not be, she's not sitting in Abigail Brand's area, her vicinity, to be able to pick up on that. I'm just like, okay, Queen, you sitting down, you should be at the very least. I'm not gonna say DEFCON 5, but somebody just made an attempt on your life where they questioned you being resurrected. You should definitely be at 2. You should be somewhere. But nevertheless,
I think because she was going through so much internal strife, she wasn't looking outwardly for hostilities that might be connected to that, you know. But I mean, I get what you're saying though. You
yeah,
should be on high alert because you just got assassinated. Like somebody should have been able to pick this up, if not you yourself.
right. But I mean, she do have Deathbird, her auntie, sitting right there by her side. So maybe that's an auntie
Yeah.
job. I ain't.
Sure. So now you back on the on one of the sword stations here. You get a quick conversation with WizKid, bringing everybody up to speed on what's been going on with Brand. Basically, since the last time she got resurrected, they've been like kind of monitoring. They know that since she's not getting backed up immediately, like as she may die, they know that she's probably keeping a journal or keeping notes or keeping apprised of what's going on, so she can fill herself in when she gets resurrected in the case that she dies. And we'll see later on in this book just how intricate she gets with all the details.
Absolutely.
Um, but basically, they are going to they noticed through that Abigail Brand took a sample from I hate saying this, Cable's techno organic load.
The techno organic virus. Yeah, she took a sample of it, a
Yeah,
little small.
right. Like takes a piece of that and gives it to God knows where, according to to them right now. They use Manifold's power set to track it. This is raw. That I didn't know this was part of his power set, that he's able to find a point wherever in the universe, so far out in between galaxies is where they get ready to go. Right? Based off of the material that's here in front of me, I can find it anywhere in the entire universe.
Think about that
And
for
open up a portal for us to get there.
think about that for a second. That means if you have a relative, if you give him a sample of the DNA, he can hold that DNA and find and take you straight to your relative.
Yeah.
Like that. That's all right. That's all right right there. That's all right. That's all right. Could
That's
you
that's
imagine him
that's
on the
easy.
police
That's easy,
force?
man. Huh? What'd you say?
I said, could you imagine him on the police force? That's a one-man forensics team.
I don't know what the outer limit. Now you want to start talking about a meta level that hasn't been identified yet. As soon as they find a class for his power set, I would think he'd have to be a meta level. I don't know anybody who has that level of tracking skills. Not even Wolverine. Wolverine can't do that. He may be able to smell some stuff, but he sure can't take you there. You know what I mean? Not anywhere. I mean, even WizKid mentions in it here, like, man, yeah, you caught a space station. I think you'll get us there and back just fine. You caught a whole sword station. If you
Yeah,
remember
right.
that from I think that was from King and Black when that happened.
Yep, a whole source session.
Yep, yep, yep,
That
yep,
was
yep.
that was Abigail Brand's doing, by the way. That was her doing.
So where it ends up taking them is back to the home or the lab of the progenitors. Those are those aliens that have been working on Vulcan. If you remember, we got some quick flashbacks. I think what was that, 4 or 5 issue of X-Men Red, where they kind of showed us the background of what happened to Cable and how he got kind of
Right.
implanted back to us and whatnot. So this is where all that was happening, and this is also where they sent the sample of Cable's or organic virus, right? Um, Already we can start to see that there are certain ties that are kind of informing us as to what the deal was here with Abigail Brand. There are all types of clues that you probably would have been able to piece this together without the data page that we end up getting at the end of the book. But so you got the progenitor's lab, you got Cable's virus, a sample of Cable's virus was there. We know Abigail Brand was involved with both. So right now there's a link between the three. Go ahead.
One thing they pointed out, and I thought it was kind of like, dang, they just gave him the same weakness. And when I say gave him the same weakness, I'm talking about Manifold. If he can't see where he's going, he's not going anywhere. They make a statement here, might be a problem for me too. I'm not seeing any windows in here, and I need to see outside before I can open a portal beyond this room. You know, Nightcrawler has to see where he's going before he teleports there. So now Manifold needs to be able to look outside. He needs to be able to see outside of a closed room to open up a portal to go anywhere. That's crazy. Because I don't think that's true, because we've seen him when he was on the sword station and he walked into, I think, Peter Gyrich's office and took some documentation off of a table while Gyrich was on the phone. I don't think he was looking outside when he did that. So it's like, I need
that might be one of them things where they're trying to clearly define the power set, whereas they weren't so strict about it previously. Because you're right, there's been times we've seen him jump or open up portals and he wasn't nowhere near a window.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the planet was covered in darkness when you caught the sword station.
I ain't saying, I'm just saying.
Or maybe it's just the idea of having a constricted view. Like
I think that's what it is.
If it's constricted, then it makes it more difficult for him to open up a portal, maybe.
Or they didn't think we were paying attention.
Right, that too. that too. So they're going through this playback right now of the progenitors talking to someone. You don't really see who it is until the end. And they're basically saying, you know, we know who you really are. What we're going to do is we're going to put this mask over you. You're going to be able to slip right in, because they're doing all this right at the dawn of Krakoa. Right as they're bringing back hundreds of thousands of mutants all at once. Somebody like Vulcan is able to slide right in there like he should have been there the whole time. Little do you know, it's this whole coup with not even just the progenitors and Abigail Brand, but it also involves Orcus and Orbis Stellaris, somebody that you've seen in the some older issues of X-Men Red and Marauders, but essentially like a intergalactic weapons dealer. This large coup, and this feels like Abigail Brand. It feels like she in the middle of all these people, and she ain't loyal to a single one. The only thing she care about is what? Soul. All I care is about Soul. That's it.
I mean, and she's been consistent. She's made it very clear from day one. She ain't loyal to not to us readers. She's made it clear since day one that she's loyal to herself. Like, you can call her mutant, but don't call her no human, because she's not an Earth. She's been very, very adamant about that since day one. So, everybody kind of getting what they should have expected from Abigail Brand.
Yeah. So basically, the plan is to put him in a thin shell, right, and have him infiltrate Krakoa, and then at the right time, they would know the right steps to take. They being Abigail Brand, probably, to crack him back open and unleash him. And it seemed to have gone over pretty well. I think we even mentioned this when we first started reviewing this book and Vulcan showed up. You like, hey man, last time we seen Vulcan, he was acting way different. I don't know who this person is and what they got going on with him.
I got the trade paperback when Buddy showed up and killed Banshee. I was like,
yeah, you've been on Vulcan for a minute. You, even when he was getting smacked around by John Proudstar, you was like, hey, look, something ain't right. Something ain't right. Even when he lost the fight versus Tarn, you was like, hold on, something ain't right. Something ain't right. And we've seen the small building blocks that they've been laying to kind of pull him out of that. The fight with Tarn. Then he fought. Who else did he fight? He fought somebody else in that great ring.
He fought Aurora, and Aurora like
Fought
put two.
Aurora, right? Yeah, fought Aurora, and Aurora smoked him, right? Slowly but surely, they've been chipping away at that shell, and they was gonna let the real Vulcan out eventually. Eventually, right? Getting
And
closer
listen,
and closer to it.
that's the Vulcan that I don't think Tara want to see. Like that Vulcan was taking on a whole group of X-Men. Like it wasn't nothing.
Mhm.
Like he had everybody scared. Everybody. I don't think that's who you want. Um, I am curious to see with his former teammates if when he Vulcan goes ballistic, if they resurrect him because they've told him so many times they can bring him back. If they actually do resurrect them to get a better hand on Vulcan.
So,
Because
but what do you? They were able to essentially put a faulty personality on top of Vulcan. They being the progenitors. What
right.
do you take away in Resurrection to tone down Vulcan? It is his rage that drives his power. So what do you take away that doesn't make render him inert?
I would almost say if we had to look at it, okay, if we go back to Deadly Genesis, the Vulcan that he turned into after Deadly Genesis was not who he was prior to Deadly Genesis. This is the youngest Summers brothers, everything like that. So with him
Was that run before or after the War of Kings?
before the War Kings.
Okay.
Before the War Kings. So I'm of the mindset that the Vulcan that we have right now is here we go. If John Walker can be this angry dude who went overseas and fought in I don't know how many wars and everything like that, and he's dealing from PTSD, then I think a lot of anger has to deal with him, the trauma that he's went through. I look at it like that, like because he's very soft to those characters, his initial teammates. He's kind to them, so he's that Vulcan that he was back then. He was that person. I'm thinking that everything that he's went through from when they were killed by Krakoa traumatized this dude deep, and there has never been anybody to go in and say, okay, let's sit down and have a psychological evaluation of folks. This dude is traumatized beyond trauma. He died, his whole team died, and he was the leader of that team. And I can tell you, leaders take losing their team seriously, like, because it's our fault. That's the way we're going to take it. If we lose one life, it's our fault. This dude lost his whole team. He's angry at the world. So I'm thinking later on down the line, we got to let the plot play out and everything like that. But I'm thinking there's a reason why they brought up the fact that he's got those friends, and the only reason why they haven't been resurrected is because he hasn't wanted them to be resurrected. Okay, but what happens when we do resurrect them, and now you have to stand face to face? Now you have to face your demons personally. So
Mhm.
I just think something's gonna play out later on, just because they keep making reference to those characters.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, just as Cable is realizing that Brand is the Pied Piper and she's playing everybody involved, they get the party crashed by not really sure what it is, but it seems like whoever the progenitors were that they were working for this being or robot or whatever this is that just crashed
I
in.
think it's the dude we've been seeing, the dude with just the ball and everything like that. He just attached it to a body.
Oh, this is Stellaris.
Yeah.
Orbit Stellar. Okay. Oh, okay. 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 That makes sense, Marcus. You were just talking about him. Okay. All right. Got it. Got it. Got it. So he crashes in and tells them that he's being unimaginative. You keep saying the progenitors, and you should be saying my progenitors, as if he's somehow in a more advantageous position than what Cable is letting on. We switch back over to the diplomatic zone. Pybok and Gladiator are just getting ready to come to blows. Nova's trying to calm them down. And just as everybody is getting ready to boil over, take a look, see who done cracked through their shell. Look at there. Look at there. Saying a whole bunch of crazy royal stuff. My fire and inferno that will burn your pathetic alliance where it lies if you dare stand against your betters. Rejoice, bold men of the Shi'ar. Raise your swords and sing your harmonious. Your king has returned.
That's what he said. That's what he said. He said it with his chest too.
Basically.
I don't think
Basically.
nobody. I don't think nobody out there want that smoke either.
So now here is the yeah, no, they don't. They don't. I was gonna give Nova and Gladiator a little bit more credit than probably what they deserve. I think Nova has the raw power. I don't think he has the endurance that an untapped Vulcan is getting ready to have.
Right.
He
Right.
doesn't he can't outlast. He may be able to keep up with him for a little bit, few blows, but it ain't the same. That's not the same at all. Gladiator's getting washed too, for sure.
Everybody gonna.
Say it again.
Everybody gonna get the man. Everybody. Like I don't. First of all, does he remember his power set? Because he can turn powers off. If he remembers the fact that he can do that, this will wrap real quick.
Yeah, remember he did that to Tarn initially, but Tarn
Yeah.
just put them paws on him, so it didn't matter that much at that point. Last page, favorite page in the book, literally breaks down Abigail Brand's plan in all of the different phases, all of the contingencies, showing you that she ain't shit. She ain't never been shit. She ain't never gonna be shit. Like, why anybody trust? I feel like I've been saying this since Sword. Why anyone gives Abigail Brand the time of day, I would never understand. But she just lie, and then she lie some more, and then she gonna lie to cover up her lies over there, and the other lies that she told last week. She just be lying. She be lying. She says the Galactic Society.
She touches on that, like you said. Why would anybody trust her? Let's go ahead and go into phase one, if you don't mind. Can I?
Yeah,
Can
go
I
ahead.
get? Okay. So phase one, we're above top secret. Galactic Society is moving towards a state of total war or total peace. Either way, the solar system is underrepresented and vulnerable. We need to take our proper place on the galactic stage. This
Pause.
is a document for solving that problem.
Pause. How the
But
hell is Soul underrepresented? On
because she
what
ain't,
planet?
she
You
ain't
got,
rep-
you got you got the Empire, right? You got the Shi'ar, the Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda, the mutants. What more do you need?
See, that's code for I'm not running stuff. It's underrepresented because I'm not running stuff.
Thank you. I wish she would have just said that, talking about they underrepresented. Everybody is represented just fine.
Just fine. But did she answers your question as to why people trusted her. Because I thought that was a great question that you asked. Phase one, cultivate and prepare useful allies. She did call the mutants out for this because this is a psychological profile. Krakoa, new mutant nation, founded by the X-Men. This is a priority alliance for various reasons. They've been useful in the past. They talk tough, but they're easily swayed and seldom ask questions.
Boy. Because they sure enough been just letting Abigail Brand do whatever the hell. She done murdered Peter Gyrick. Didn't y'all have him 3 laws? Kill no human? Y'all just been letting her get away with any and everything, not to mention her ex over there running the mutant CIA. She know y'all don't ask no questions because he been running rampant too.
Did they really ask questions when the deviants pulled up on them? No. Oh y'all say y'all with us? Okay, cool. Let's go.
Yeah, like where you come from? Who told you to come? How you get through these gates?
Wait, Mimitor. Side edge to Mimitor.
Yeah.
Her and the dude got into a whole battle, killed each other. She come down spitting some sweet poetry. Now they a tag team.
Her and Exodus. Yeah.
So I'm gonna finish reading it though. I'll give it back to you. An entire nation of mutants is a limitless resource if properly controlled and directed. My on-off personal relationship with Henry McCoy, Beast, may be useful. So her and Beast getting it in?
Yeah, man, just long enough for her to get what she want because she's scandalous.
Anyway, Gabriel Summers, Vulcan, would be Krakoan royalty if he returned. And he was the most disruptive force in galactic politics in a generation. She right. He was tearing up everything. Soon as he came back, oh man, come on in, bring it in. You just need a hug. Come on, come on.
Right.
We got you. They didn't even get mad when he burnt down the whole damn Summers house. You just can't stay here no more. What? For real?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we got that. Black Bolt returned from the vault. Vulcan could have survived as well. If so, the Vulcan strategy is to retrieve, reprogram, and place within Krakoa. So this was before she even knew Vulcan
If he
had
was
returned.
alive. She just thought it up like, hey yo, if we can somehow get Vulcan back, he'd be a good little agent. Didn't even know if he was alive. I wonder who she would have chosen, because we do know of other. If you read other X-Men books, you know that Vulcan is far from the only plant on Krakoa. So I wonder who she would have chosen, who would have been her backup if she couldn't get her hands on Vulcan.
This is my question, because what we just read, right? What we just read as readers, Wiz Kid and Cable already read this. I think they read this, came across this in the previous issue. So now, depending on what happens with Solar Solaris, what do you do with this information? Like, and that's what I'm loving when it comes to Al Ewing in regards to this, because he's, first of all, like I said, going back to being able to keep up the story elements with, A.X.E going on and everything like that. Now with A.X.E being that storyline being over, you come right back and you pick up the pieces of what you were dangling doing that
Right where you
storyline
left
before.
off.
I'm sorry.
I said right where you left off.
Yeah, so it's like I'm interested because he's got a lot of overlapping story arcs that he has to tie up in a nice little bow. But I'm loving the way he's going about it, because I'm like, now that I know what Cable and Wiz Kid know, once y'all get past this issue with Slayers, what are y'all gonna do with this information?
Yeah. Second part of phase 1 is with Orbis Stellaris. Again, the galactic arms dealer was able to get his hands on Vulcan, able to verify that he was alive. Phase 2, Krakoa is more useful than I thought possible. X of Swords incident led to the retrieval of Lost Sword Station. Damn, we just doing work for her. She just keeps sliding into stuff. But when you playing all sides, every loss is a gain for you. When you playing every side, every loss is a gain for you.
You play chess?
Let's see. In a massive influx of new non-civilized mutant population, only a matter of time before the obvious solution presents itself: a local terraforming strategy. Did she call the terraforming of Mars before they even had the idea?
Exactly. Let me ask you a question. Do you play chess, Marcus?
Not a lot. Not very good at it.
The reason why I asked that is because K Dot would get a laugh out of this. So there was this issue in JLA, Justice League. Mr. Terrific was playing, I want to say he's playing Batman and somebody else in a game of chess. I'm not sure if he had a blindfold on, but essentially what he was doing was he's playing two people in chess at the same time. And essentially what he was doing was, if I'm not mistaken, he was using one person's moves on the other person. And so it was essentially like, to your comment, if I'm playing two sides against each other, it's real hard for me to get an L. You understand what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Yep.
I wish I knew that chess move. Godly, I need to go back to that issue. I got it in a box, but
well, it sounds like in what you're describing, they're almost playing each other.
Right. So she's going to win.
You out of it. You're just kind of setting the table.
Exactly. So she's going to win. Remember, she starts it off, she's saying it's either going to play out in either total peace or total war. She's just preparing for either outcome. Now the thing is that if you're the losing side, if the Kree and the Skrulls go to war with each other, she can't lose. The Kree can, the Skrull can, she can't lose. Yeah. She's gonna be good with, and that's her whole thing. Low key, when I looked at all 4 points, you just don't like the way she doing business. I don't either. Everything is a means to an end, even your death.
So she called the terraforming of Mars again before they even had the idea to do it. That's amazing. Also, she talks about the economic collapse that happens around the Empire event. That and the oh man, what else? What else? Empire event, total collapse scenario. Oh, and it puts everybody in a peaceful. Because I mean, again, it's like every other day that they have some kind of calamity event in comic books, but more than usual in the last 6, 7, 8, 9, I guess 2 years. Going all the way back to the Empire event. Jesus Christ, you had Empire, you had Ten of Swords, and then King of Black, and then was there something in between King of Black and Judgment Day?
Yeah,
Like it
just
was.
what we didn't have X-Men. We didn't have it was an X-Men Inferno thing, was it?
That was Jonathan Hickman's going away though. That was more mutant
Um,
isolated.
no, I
But
don't
I
think.
mean, in any case, they've had a lot going on, and so in this short stint of time, it creates a hunger for peace and puts the mutants, which are essentially right now being shadow led by Abigail Brand, as the prime candidates to try and bring everybody together and not only be the peacemakers but the peacekeepers. Right? Peacemaker and peacekeeper are two different roles, but if you play in both, you can end up in an ultimate position of power. Because now everybody counts on you not just for the peace but for protection. That's what she's going for here. It kind of created this stressful situation where everybody wants a leader and there isn't one really in Seoul yet, just a bunch of individuals. She's going to find a way to coalesce everything so that she can control Seoul. Is at least what I'm picking up. Is that what you're getting from all of this?
Yeah, I do, and it's crazy because why the most dangerous people to the mutant population right now are people they once considered allies. That's Abigail Brand and Morgan McTaggart,
Mm-hmm.
and they never saw either one of them coming. That could be their biggest downfall. They never saw either one of them coming because both of them, after having been Abigail Brand was always associated with Orchis. So is Morgan McTaggart, and who knows the mutants' biggest secrets? Morgan McTaggart and Abigail Brand.
Yeah. 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 We move into phase 3. Basically, that's her shedding her old ties and association so that she can start to level up. She uses the political clout for helping out with that economic situation that was left over after Empire to become, what do they call her? The blah, 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 where is it at? Oh, she gets a representative seat on the Galactic Council of Seoul because of that. Still talking about terraforming Mars that she knows that they're gonna do by now. She was so far ahead of this shit. She was so far ahead of this. Once the mutants terraform Mars, and they will terraform Mars, pitch that as a new soul capital world. So not Earth, not the planet, the home planet that we're actually trying to conquer, and that will probably take us generations upon generations, maybe even a millennia, to have total dominance of the brand new planet. Yeah, let's make that the capital. And I'll just take care of everything, make sure that it runs smoothly and gets up and running, and you guys can just handle Krakoa. Sound good?
She, I don't want to say it. Look, she just want to do it. And when I say she just want to do it, I don't want to say be the dictator, but the police chief. Like she want everything. She want the currency to run through her because she feel like she's the only one qualified to handle
Only one qualified to do it. Yep. Absolutely, absolutely. And this is also the point in which she approaches Orcus and starts working with them as well. And it's even easier to play them than it was the mutants because they are zealots, bigots, essentially. And they are easily swayed. Trigger 4 is to encourage friction between the A.X.E and the diplomatic science community on Arakko, which she most definitely has. Definitely stoke those flames we've seen in the pages of this book alone. Prime the Vulcan asset. So that's probably some of those challenges that you've seen between Tarn and Storm to get them to kind of break that shell open through some trauma so that he'll snap out of it. Take advantage of the mute stealing Mars, paint a target on their backs, blah, blah, blah. Basically, playing up the publicity around the mutants, kind of elevating as a species, riling up the humans. Sure. Leak the Shi'ar shapeless ridge data. So that was some of those shames that we were talking about, the 10 shames. That was Abigail Brand that leaked that to Pybok, set all of this up. And so basically the last piece that they needed to fall into place was to get Xandra in the room with the rest of these leaders and just, if anybody bust off, take them out. Take them out. Like, I don't even know what to do. During talks, set Vulcan loose against Xandra. No matter who kills who, we're looking for a galactic war within a week. A civil war among the Shi'ar while both sides fight off the Kree Skull Alliance. Other galactic factions will undoubtedly be drawn in. Oh.
You know what she's turning into? Except she's a little bit worse. The female version of Nick Fury.
Yeah, but see, Nick Fury was usually doing his dealings to stop Calamity. Abigail Brand wants this chaos, and it's not for some higher idea of morality or trying to keep people safe like Nick Fury. It is solely self-serving. I don't think Nick Fury ever pulled these triggers to make himself king.
That's no. That's why I said she's like Nick Fury, but different. No, Nick Fury wouldn't want to be the king. Abigail Brand clearly wants to be the queen, but in everything that she's wanting to do, I'm not saying I agree with it, but she's saying the only person I believe that can do things the way they're supposed to be done is me. Now, she is a master strategist because here's what we have to look at. Aside from Uranus, who she couldn't control, like you can't plan that one out, right? But we saw her get rid of Henry Peter Gyrich. People need to be leery of the fact that if Abigail, people need to be as suspicious or as prepared for Abigail Brand as she is for them. Because I believe she has a plan to get rid of everybody, whether she
I wouldn't even have her around for that alone. It's because you already have you came into this with a contingency of removing me and going about your life with me not here. Like I can't have that constant threat of being overthrown on my neck every day.
But you know who would though?
I would never even bring her around.
You know who would though? The people she do business with, like
Charles and Magneto, two of the most arrogant SOBs in all of.
I'm talking about the people more like Henry Peter Gyrich. Like, do we think she wouldn't get rid of this dude if he presents a threat? We don't think she'll get rid of him. I think she would get rid of anybody that poses a threat to her long-term plan. The thing is that bad guys are more of the mindset. Villains usually operate under hubris. She wouldn't do it to them. So I think that's going to come back to bite quite a few villains because the bad guy, the superheroes are already on to it. I think that's going to come back to bite quite a few of them in the end, in the butt, just like it did with Gyrich.
Now listen to the ending phase, the one that's supposed to happen post this issue, right? So they're going to guilt the X-Men into accepting Vulcan and take it as if it's their fault because they let him come out here and they just wanted their brother back. So guilt them into taking him on, right? The Shi'ar, let's see. The A.X.E all in line as well, or she coerces the X-Men to exile them back to Amenth. I don't know how she thinks she gonna get that done with the Brotherhood on Arakko right now. I don't know what she has in place to get around them, but they're not just about to let you go politic to Scott and Jean or even the Quiet Council to have the entire planet removed and sent back to Amenth. That's not going to happen so easily.
Excuse my pun, that's an X factor. I don't think she could plan for that.
Yeah, she can't. I don't know why she so confidently wrote it into her plans like that was just gonna be the next move. But she sure enough did. SWORD is essentially going to become the new SHIELD as a global defense agency, absorbing Orcus. Now, she may have something there. She may actually have something there. And I think that is why maybe Cable is playing it the way he is. He didn't just go snitch to the Quiet Council and have her killed or whatever, what have you. He's playing it slow because the potential of being able to have a control of Orcus, which at this point is your biggest human threat. It's your biggest threat possible because they have Nimrod, right? That's your ultimate desire. Your ultimate demise is Nimrod evolving into a supercomputer that you can never beat, no matter how long you live. So they have Nimrod. Their problem number one, above the Eternals, above the damn progenitor, because you know you're gonna make it through the progenitor eventually. You know the one from the A.X.E series, not the guy in this book. But even him is not as big a threat to mutantdom as Orcus right now.
Now we don't think is now. I would give Nimrod I would give him credit for being able to say, okay, I don't trust her. But anybody else with Orcus not trusting Abigail Brand, no, she gon' listen. You either with her or you against her. And if you're against her, she gonna get rid of it. So she absorbing Orcus, she gonna get rid of quite a few figureheads.
And basically, what she's trying to set up is Sword and essentially herself as the system wide leaders of Soul, with her being the de facto leader. Which, man, she halfway there already. If everything goes to plan at this diplomatic zone with Frenzy and friends over there against Vulcan, it's gonna go exactly the way that they wanted to go. The only thing that I feel like is going to be the hiccup for her is the fact that Storm kind of sniffed her out prior to all of this and decided to create that Brotherhood of Mutants and didn't just stay as Regent. I think she has much more. She's much more deadly than Abigail Brand as an individual and someone who's not held down by the Regency, who's not held back by the Regency.
I like I said, I like the story point. I think with her being as prepared as she is, they've given us enough. Al Ewing has given us enough plot tropes in here that she can't be prepared for. Because how does she know what Iska is right now? What is she thinking is going on with Magneto? Has she prepared for that contingency? Has she prepared for the way the new Brotherhood is moving on Araco? Because like you said, they're not going to play that. Does she even know who the new Brotherhood is right now? Like there's so many things, there's so many X factors that she planned for that aren't even in play anymore. I don't believe it's gonna go as smoothly as she wants to. She's going to have to make some plans on the fly. But now WizKid and Cable on, like I said, you and I are just now reading this. WizKid and Cable read about this last issue. So
yeah, I still think the hardest thing she's gonna be able to do is to get those mutants back to Amen.
Yeah,
And like you basically telling us to go back to plantation. We not doing that. That ain't happening. We not ever doing that. So I'm interested to see how she would even approach that with the Quiet Council, because you
right.
think about disavowing or resubjugating 2-3 million mutants that you just terraformed a planet for. You better have a damn good reason. You better have a damn good reason to even bring that up. But we shall see what's going on there in X-Men Red. I think, is it this week? When's the next X-Men Red come out?
I think this one just came out.
This one came out last Wednesday.
So we got what, 30 days? Or are they doing them every 2 weeks now?
According to the solicits in the back of the book, it looks like it's going to be next month. So
Okay.
early December. Which is cool. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. We got some things in the meantime here. But really liking the book. Of course, Al Ewing, one of the most formidable pens in Marvel right now. Loving everything about this book. The political intrigue, the wartime intrigue around it. It's got just enough action to keep you hanging on from book to book. It's not boring. Dialogue is tight. Character development's pretty good. They're working with a cast and crew on this book that you wouldn't necessarily say would be leading the title, but outside of Immortal X-Men, this is it. This is it right here. X-Men Red for sure, as far as X titles go for me.
He knows where
Um,
he wants to go.
what'd you say?
He knows where he wants to go with the story.
Yeah, absolutely.
He knows what he wants to go with, where he wants to go with the story, and every character plays a part. And I think that's one of the things that we as readers can appreciate. Like regardless of the role, as long as a character has a role to play and that role makes sense, as readers you get behind it. Like I said, the fact that the story he has been telling since Sword, now X-Men Red has been consistent. He's been building up something, even with the name, the change of the title name. He's still working toward that end game. Didn't take time off when we did with Judgment Day. He still dropped tidbits, kind of like what we talked about the other day with the Infinity War saga, how they tied the Infinity War saga together and everything like that. He's been dropping tidbits so that we stay engaged. So as you stated, I'm here for it. I definitely want to see the Brotherhood get down with Solaris next issue. I want to see that battle. I want to see what's gonna happen now that Vulcan act like he won't smoke. So I want to see all
Will
that.
be interesting.
Check, we gotta wait
Will be
30 days.
interesting. Looks like we're dealing with full juice Vulcan, so that should be a good issue. All right, let's move on to the Judgment Day finale. I got the variant cover this week. I was a day late on my pull, so they gave me the variant. But I like this. I like this Fastos cover. Pretty dope. I like it. I put it up on the wall actually. It's pretty nice. Um, so kind of a quick background of where we're at, right? Let's see. Iron Man here. We got the whole teams right here on the first page of the book. Um, Iron Man, Wolverine, Mister Sinister, the Holy Crew from the Eternals, Ajax, Makari, and Cersei. They are inside the progenitor. Then you got Nightcrawler and Cap leading the assault outside, or not even really leading the assault, but doing all of the rest of the extra stuff for the plan to beat the progenitor on the outside. And then you got our got our civilians again. The six civilians that we have been following basically the whole series. Um, this book, while I've enjoyed the entire event, I really have. I've liked it. They started to take their foot off the gas a little bit with some of these stakes, which was a little disappointing and kind of predictable. Comic book events usually go fast and furious in the first 3-4 issues, and then they start undoing some of the crap that they did that made you go in the first 3 or 4 issues in the last 2 or 3. And that's kind of what they're doing here now. So instead of, while the world is ending, that there's a literal apocalypse going on, and now we're at the point where the progenitor is actually winning. But somehow we use the Eternal system to open up all these random portals and bring humans to Eternal cities. Come on. Don't cheapen the event. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's a worldwide calamity. People have to die.
Well, we talked about that. Remember, we talked about it last issue. Like Marvel does soft reboots. Like they're not gonna do a hardcore reboot like DC does. Like that.
Yeah.
That ain't gonna do. So they were gonna give themselves a way out. Like they weren't gonna really hit the hardcore reset button. I was kind of like you. They did try and help us out by telling us some people weren't willing to go with go to the eternal cities. Some of them were still making life decisions and everything. One woman
Mhm.
went back into a fire to save an older woman and she didn't make it
Yeah,
out.
yeah, that's the civilians, right? So homeboy, the bigot, basically sees the portals opening up and doesn't go, keeps his family inside and burns them all to death with a bad decision. And you got homegirl that was help, like you said, Katrina, that was running in and out of the burning building, and the last time she went in, she ends up getting stuck and she perishes. We got oh, Kamali. the widow from Arjun earlier on in the book, one of the first ones to pass in a Eternals resurrection. She's in a skyscraper that ends up getting hit by some sort of meteor. She passes away. Daniela actually goes through the portal with her mother, dragging her tooth and nail. Jada actually runs into Quinta, who seems to have been separated from his parents, probably in the melee. So everybody kind of handling the relocation differently, handling the ending of the world differently. But it's just that like it's ultra convenient, and it's not really explained by logic. But then again, we're talking about comic books, right? So you kind of have to you got to suspend some of your disbelief. I wasn't in love with the idea that, oh, now we can save everyone all around the world simultaneously.
I guess
Like,
look, I
then
guess if
where's going to be real quick, let me finish that because I'm probably about to set you up.
go ahead.
If you're not going to do something like that, if you're not going to have some of these people do, then what is the lasting impact from this? And don't get me. You get some stuff at the end of the book that sounds kind of interesting, I guess, because you have to have something, right? But what are the lasting impacts of this event? Why am I going to remember that X happened 5 years down the road? You know what I mean? What happened here that's going to last?
You know what? Nothing.
Not a damn thing. And we talking about a celestial.
You know what?
Celestial.
The grand scheme of things, there is nothing that happened. The only thing we could have took from this, and they even walked that one back, is when they said deviants and mutants were related to each other. That was a wild moment, and they even walked that statement back. So when you look at it, the grand scheme of things, I'm like, I like it. You know, it's a character.
Maybe a potential alliance with the deviants and the mutants. Maybe.
I mean, I don't know. It would because you gotta because if the mutants and the deviants are related, then what you gonna give me something later on, which is gonna be kind of crazy because they've established the deviants in a heroic tone. Like they painted them as heroes in this. So you got if anybody came out looking bad, it was the Eternals.
Eternals, yeah, for sure.
The deviants look out like they look pretty good. The Eternals and going on over there somewhere. The mutants to a degree come out smelling like roses after this. The Avengers are still the Avengers. Shout out to Nighthawk. I do not know where he was during this whole Judgment Day thing, but clearly he showed up in this issue. To your point, nothing.
I don't know who Nighthawk is.
Oh, you being petty, you being petty. Don't be petty.
No, I'm for real. Like I'm dead ass. Like I'm just trying to ask a question. Like I don't know who that character is.
Oh, that's Kyle Richmond,
Okay.
the black version of Kyle Richmond, which somehow Mephisto is responsible for his version of Squadron Supreme coming into play. And so when T'Challa was going
Supreme, okay,
yeah.
got it. Hyperion, right?
Right. So when T'Challa was going through his stuff, he went to Nighthawk and like, look, bro, you know, even though I don't really know you, I feel like you got some value to you. I got some stuff going on at the crib. I gotta go handle that. So could you kind of like you can't replace me as the leader. Cap gonna be the leader. But can you replace watch this, it's me being petty. Can you replace me as being the token black on the Avengers? That's what I need. So he went away. And so, you know, we ain't seen him doing the whole Judgment Day thing. I ain't saying, I'm just saying. And since I read Black Panther and the Avengers, T'Challa back now, so I guess Nighthawk got to go bye-bye. I don't know.
Yeah, you can't have you can't have Nighthawk and T'Challa, and you know damn well. Don't even ask for it. Come over here with that nonsense.
Like I kind of rock with this Kyle Richmond. I like him.
Next thing you know, you're gonna be asking for Monica Rambeau too. Just stick with your Nighthawk and enjoy the representation that you get. At least we got that, right?
My bad. As a brother, I was asking for too much. Right. Let me go back.
Yeah, you asking for too much. Don't cut off your nose to spite your face. What about the representation that we already have?
You're right, man. Let me go back. Let's go back to reviewing the comic book. You're right, man. I'm sorry. I got out of pocket.
The word is accept, man. Accept. Don't fight. Accept. You'll be happier. I do think we'll be happier, though. I do. I think we would be much happier if we just ate it.
Got to share the tea on that. Go ahead.
Yeah. Where are we at? Okay. Eros tooting his own horn about bringing all the humans into the Eternal series. Yeah, we saved everybody. Everybody loves us. But they're getting updates about what's going on. Phastos was able to reset the machine, so that bought them some time on the Doomsday event. But even still, the progenitor is realizing now in the finale of the book that it's taking him way too long to destroy this planet. Now, I said this right when he hit a thumbs down. I'm sitting here like, okay, so what planet they gonna have to go to? Because he about to yeah, he about to, you know what I mean? It's about to be over. And it was just taking, so I'm like, what is going on? They wrote in the whole plot thread about the machine resisting. I swear to God, that's only a thing because there was an Eternal tie-in book that needed to go along with this event. And you know, the machine is the de facto narrator of the Eternals book. And you can't have those comics with Kieron Gillen, at least, without the machine narrating it. I swear to God, that is the only reason why. But they found a way to make it make sense, because when the progenitor finally realizes that he's been resisting too long, he literally cracks the world open like an egg and heads straight for the core.
Listen, can we give it up one time to the planet Earth for fighting back? Like,
yeah, no, shout out to the machine for sure.
Shout out to you, like you. I ain't never seen you really put up no battle in no book before, but you put up one hell of a fight in this whole damn series. So shout out to you, Mother Earth, Globe, Planet, Terra, whatever you calling yourself. Shout out to you for putting up a fight in this book.
Yeah. For sure, man, for sure. We are inside the progenitor, and the team of Wolverine, Iron Man, Cersei, Ajax, Jean Grey, and Makari and Mr. Sinister are fighting through what they're calling the antibodies from the progenitor. Bunch of creatures trying to keep them from advancing. They've been fighting these damn things for a while. Not gonna lie, but I mean, I guess it is an ancient, omnipresent God. So I guess it makes sense for them to have a track.
A lot of white blood cells they got to go through.
Right. Let's see here. So they come up to the hub of the progenitor, and basically, what I'm getting from all of this is that this is the person inside of the machine. Didn't know that's how Celestials work. I didn't know that. But this is the real life humanoid manifestation of the progenitor that they're looking at right now. After everything, is it because we about to get into some dissonance here in a little bit for these next couple of pages. After everything you did already, Jean Grey, you thought that you was just gonna walk in there and just explode it, like make its head blow up or something? You thought you were gonna Betsy Braddock your way in, Cyclaw, and
come on,
you didn't think that was gonna work. And then again, you're left with the same problem. This thing is going to explode and take out most of the Eastern Seaboard. That was literally what got y'all failed in the first place, was the fact that y'all took that same shot. Here you go with your fucking attitude, and you get ready.
Well, you're thinking because this thing ain't so monstrous, it's like human size now. She could do something. Which I gotta ask, why is she borrowing Betsy Braddock's finishing move? Like, why you using Psylocke's finishing move? Get your own finishing move. Don't use hers.
Is she using Psylocke's moves or Betsy Braddock?
I'm thinking the dagger is Psylocke's move. It's not Betsy Braddock's. It's Psylocke's move, because Betsy Braddock uses.
Hey, it could be both. It could be both of their moves, considering that they share the body. Remember?
I just want Jean Grey to use her own finishing move. Stop stealing people's finishing move. We don't like that.
No matter who it is, no matter it's Psylocke or Betsy Braddock. Stop stealing.
Yeah, stop doing that. But yeah, go ahead, man. I ain't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, you good. Ajax looks like she intervenes pretty quickly. Of course she does, Bible thumper. Um, but right as they're squabbling over what to do inside of the progenitor, guess who shows up at the Eternal City? Here comes the progenitor, right? So I don't know. I just feel like it makes it a little bit comical knowing that all of these people are coming back. It makes it a little bit comical that all of that knowing at this point in the book that all of these people are coming back somehow, because you got the humans now who are arming themselves up with the armory of Uranos,
For what?
and of course
That's
they
what I was
pose no
asking.
threat.
For what? What are they arming themselves for? For what? What they strapped up shoulders?
Well, they're clearly about to go fight, right? But here's
Fight,
here's my
fight
here's
who?
my point. Here's my point, Theo. Why y'all just couldn't stay on Earth and do this? Why y'all couldn't just stay on Earth and you couldn't have thought that you was actually gonna run away from the eternal God in an eternal city. If y'all was just gonna have a last stand, y'all okay, hey, everybody meet up in the motherland, we're gonna meet up in Kenya and we're gonna have our last stand. Everybody meet up in Wakanda like Avengers Endgame. Come on.
Wait a minute, because you shouldn't have said that. Oh man, yeah. Because if we can sit up here and have a discussion about X-Men Red and how them storylines coincided with Avengers versus X-Men versus Eternals, you know what? As somebody who's been reading Black Panther, you know Wakanda missed this whole damn fight.
Hey, boy, man, you ain't said nothing. You ain't said nothing. They've been going through a whole civil strife while the world was being attacked by a celestial and ain't seen a thing. Ain't
You know,
seen a thing. It's almost as if the writer on that book is totally oblivious to anything going on in the Marvel universe that doesn't have to do with his book.
listen, ain't nothing happened to Wakanda during this whole time frame. T'Challa ain't nowhere to be found. Shuri ain't nowhere to be found. The Dora Milaje ain't nowhere to be found. Queen Ramonda ain't nowhere to be found. Tosin ain't nowhere to be found. Well, we know what happened to Achilles, but yeah, that I guess
Not that they could use their expertise or their technology for help. I ain't seen a single Wakandan fight, and even I can't even put it all on
wait.
Ridley because I ain't seen nobody in these books either.
Then we
So you
have
know
a
what? No.
Black. Then we have a
Come out. Remember Eros and one of the Eternals tie-ins. He went to Wakanda and he was speaking to T'Challa. That was it though. That was it. When he was trying to find out what everybody else in the world wanted to get along, he went to Wakanda and he met with T'Challa. That was the only time we've seen anybody in here.
Wakanda has not been affected by this war. The Celestial, Prime Celestial. Oh, he must have just said, I don't mess with. Bast is a god. See how Buddy ain't even go over there? Buddy left Wakanda alone. He left Wakanda alone. Like that's we gotta remember that one.
I think that's oversight. There's no way that this is happening all over the world and Wakanda's not affected. I just think it's oversight.
You said that it's oversight. I was meaning to say something when we were talking about the last issue X-Men Red, and I apologize. I want to go ahead and get this out of the way while it's on my mind, because you asked what I felt like was a very important question, and how we're not even discussing the intergalactic empire. I went back and I thought about it because I saw somebody else raise a question about it, and I thought about it. Wait a minute. When we talk about Black Panther, okay, well, Christopher Priest gave us Casper Cole. Reginald Huntley came on right after that, and we never heard, for the most part, from Casper Cole again. We got Shorty. Okay, well, Ta-Nehisi Coates come around, and we really telling our own story. Like, we really ain't even talking about Casper Cole character that came before. We're not talking about T'Challa and his time spent in Hell's Kitchen. We're not talking about Shorty and her previously being a Black Panther. Truth be told, Ta-Nehisi Coates quickly got her from being Black Panther to being a griot. Not saying there was anything wrong with that, but it's almost like that crabs in a barrel mentality. As writers on the Black Panther story, writers that come on, new writers, don't even acknowledge what the writer did before them, which is why these
Right
black
before him.
way too often disconnected. I know that's not a word, but if they connected the stories, imagine what we would have. I know we ain't talking about T'Challa right now, but I didn't want to lose my train of thought and forget that I'm coming back. We back.
You know who wasn't on the official Black Panther podcast with Ryan Coogler and Ta-Nehisi Coates? You know who wasn't invited? Your boy John Ridley. Anyways, moving on. moving on. So progenitor shows up. Human beings armed with a bunch of weapons that they don't know how to use or be effective with, getting slaughtered. But then you got the mutant circuit of what is that? What is, you had a name earlier? What is it?
Sign the Minotaur and Exodus, which I thought was funny.
Minotaur, yes, and Exodus together creating a mutant circuit to at least distract.
One more time. Say that one more time. Exodus and Sign the Minotaur created a mutant circuit.
Mutant circuit.
Don't you have to be? Don't both parties? I'm asking. I could be wrong. Don't both parties have to be mutants to form a mutant circuit?
That's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, they've basically been trying to tell us that mutants are somewhat evolved Eternals, anyways, or evolved deviants, or whatever. It seems like they're somewhere in between. They have the ability to resurrect, much like an Eternal, but then their DNA is close enough to deviants that deviants can use their gates.
I just thought it was interesting.
Somewhere in between.
I just thought it was interesting that wording, mutant circuit is being used to describe the interaction between those two characters when we went so far doing, and this might have been what the point of this story, this whole storyline was to draw a connection between the deviants and the externals. That might have been the whole purpose behind the story.
Could be.
Because if nothing else, we know they all related.
So as Wolverine is doing the real work over here in the background, everybody else is arguing about what to do with the progenitor. Ajax and Makari, of course, are still protecting their god, even though we done already turned off them limitations already. I thought that was the whole point of us controlling you with your mind. But you know what happens? You know what happens? I think we skipped it. There's a point in this book where Ajax and Cersei, I believe, realize that the mutants don't have control of their principles anymore.
Right.
For some reason, I think it happened when Phastos reset the machine. So they don't have control of it anymore, and they realize it, but they keep it to themselves. So just when Jean Grey goes to, try to take them out, that's when Ajax is able to, take her out and keep her from doing it. So they're debating about what to do. Tony Stark's being all moral and whatnot. On the outside, guess who showed up to help fight the progenitor and create a distraction? Look at there. Look who that is. That Moira, Nimrod, and the Sentinels. That's crazy how your enemies coalesce when they think they about to go down with you.
Yeah, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Shit, I would have headed out to that Orcus Forge out there by the sun and hung out until everything cleared itself up.
Right.
Everything cleared itself out, but clearly there's still maybe a smidget of human inside of Moira McTaggart. Also, she didn't really have a choice.
Hold on, man. Hold on.
What's the name? Kidnapped her.
Hold on. I'm finna be messy real quick. So we at this page, right, where Orcus is taking on the progenitor. Mm-hmm. You see that? You on that page, Marcus?
Yeah. Yep.
I need you to be on that page. Can we come down to the panel on the far right hand side? Jean Grey. Are those 3 energy claws coming out her hand?
You know who she like, bro? She loves Scott Summers, but she like her some Wolverine. You already know.
But look, boy, they gonna keep that going, ain't it? My bad. I just had to throw that in there. Go ahead. Come on. My bad.
They are never going to let Jean Grey just be Scott Summers. They're never going to get off of this love triangle thing with her and Wolverine. They love that shit. They love it. I was shocked to all in that they didn't age up Sophie Turner to make her be able to be with Hugh Jackman somehow in the Wolverine movies. I just knew it was gonna happen.
And
I
you
just
know
knew
what?
somehow they was gonna bring they ages close so that it'd be a little bit of a love triangle.
We didn't even look at the artwork hard. When she say she finna impersonate Betsy Braddock, she's releasing 3 psionic claws from each hand. She is. I just went back and looked at the artwork. Yeah, yeah. We that's that boy. Look, never mind. Never mind.
That's funny. That is hilarious. All right. So of course the progenitor was playing possum, right? And he was never really in any danger because it was another test. Which Jean Grey fails again miserably. He starts to read them the riot act about how they're not worthy. He gave them a chance. You failed. The Eternals suck even more. And then Cersei interjects, right? Cersei then tunes into the machine and tells the entire world exactly what happens during the resurrection, thinking that that will, have her pass. That'll earn them a leg up. So she confesses. The mutants are shocked. The heroes are shocked. Humans are angry as all hell. So then she turns back to the progenitor god and says, "See, God of mine, we can change." And he dusts her ass.
Quick.
He dusts her ass.
You know what that put me in mind of when he did it like that? I can't lie. I thought I was watching what was it, Watchmen and Warstack.
Yes, that's exactly what made me think of.
Boy, you
When
ain't
he took the mask off, he just screaming at him like, "Do it!
yes.
Oh,
God.
boom, boom." Um, yeah, I don't know why she thought that was gonna work. But in that action though, Jean Grey finds some level of sympathy for the thing. Like, oh, you poor thing. Poor thing. And first of all, so one person, one. Thor didn't stay gone, Starbrand didn't stay gone, Captain Marvel didn't stay gone, none of the humans had died. One person, well, I won't let's not skip it. Let's not do that. We can talk about it. I can still be angry about it after. So she starts trying to reason with the progenitor, basically. Telling her, hey, you know what? When I did as the Phoenix Force, because that's been his main thing with her, you destroyed a whole planet when you were controlled by the Phoenix Force. And she said, when that happened to me, I was out of control. Right? I was endowed with this eternal force that is going back millions of years, and it took control of me, and I just let it go. Right? You are making a conscious decision to destroy an entire planet based off of your flawed judgment. Are you going to be able to live with that? Being this virtuous character that you are you going to be able to live with the fact that you killed so many people solely on your own judgment that may be flawed? Tony Stark chimes in and kind of gives him the same thing. Funny thing is, this whole time while he's doing that, the progenitor is trying to drive home the death blow to the machine. So they're kind of like on this race for time. They're pleading with him, trying to reason with him. Damn, if this was what y'all needed to do, y'all probably should have started this a lot earlier, huh? Maybe don't wait until the ninth hour as he's driving his staff into the earth.
Listen, I'm gonna come back because I'm when you said that part about Jean Grey was trying to be nice to the progenitor,
Go ahead.
I'm gonna keep feel bad for the kid.
For the Celestial?
I do.
Why?
I can tell you why real quick. Because watch this. Well, none of this his fault. One, he didn't actually be created. He was an event. He was the tower, the base for Avengers headquarters. You know who started all this? Druid. And
Yeah.
because he didn't have a plan, because Druid enacted the protocols, the deviation protocols, right?
Right.
So a small group of Celestials said, "Hey, the only way we can correct this is if we create a new god to give us a new set of principles." So, because this god is a young, this is a hatchling, not knowing anything, and so, and it's put together based off of some flawed people. Like this isn't a true Celestial. This is a flawed Celestial operating off of flawed principles that were installed into it by flawed people. You know who got to live after the Celestial made the ultimate sacrifice? The flawed people that created it. that at the end of the A, B, C, D, that's what wound up happening. Now, Druid, I'm not gonna touch on that till we get to the parts of the book because I think that's interesting, funny in and of itself. But the progenitor didn't ask to be born. He didn't. He was created and given an incredible task, an impossible task, considering the short amount of time he had been in existence, and he paid the ultimate price for it.
For sure. I was just looking in the chat there, and shout out to Kaiser Coach Slevin. Appreciate you for being in the chat, bro. He was mentioning that the relation with Eternals is supposed to be closer to Inhumans than it is to mutants. Hey, bro, I know you DC guy, but they ain't been fucking with the Inhumans over here for some years. It's been a while. I feel like that Black Bolt reference that we got in X-Men Red was the first Inhumans reference I've heard in a minute. The only Inhuman that get any burn around here is what's her name? Stretch Girl, Jersey.
Kamala Khan.
Kamala Khan, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And even with the progenitor is at this very young age, he's regretful for what he did. Like he recognizes his mistakes at a very early age. He wasn't perfect. And self-sacrifice. In the short time that we know the progenitor was a lot more noble than quite a few of these heroes we've seen show up in these pages.
Well, do you know what it is? So, like, I'm on the next page now. Basically, what it is that he realizes since he can't just simply make the world and he has to work to do it, it means I'm not omnipotent. Ugh, struggle with that one. Omnipotent. Right. And if I'm not omnipotent, am I a god?
Right.
Do I have the right to judge people in this way? Do I have a right to hand out judgment if I am not all powerful?
Great, reflective, rhetorical question.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So essentially, he kind of goes back on his rest. Kind of goes back on the killing of the Earth. Resets everything back. Oh dear God. And then endows. It looks as though he endows Ajax with his powers. We'll get another scene of that in a couple pages here, but everything seems to be going back to normal. Oh, there she is. Yep, she's on the very next page. Yep, Ajax is the new eternal god, essentially. She's not even alive anymore, so she essentially died when that happened because she had so much of the progenitor's power within her, it could only exist in this form. This is what I got from that. All of our 6 civilians have come back. Kamali's alive. Katrina. Even Tom got a chance to apologize, kinda, to his kid for his bigotry. Let's see. Daniela's alive down there in Brazil. Jada won't even get out of bed. That's crazy. You done went through a post-apocalyptic event. Now everything's set back up. It's time to just sleep in. Let's take a few days off. I feel her. And then Kenta is obviously back home with his parents who have been brought back.
Signed the still alive.
What's that?
Signed the Mentor still alive. Like he ain't just say that in this book. Just for that to be a throwaway character. Giant appears, apologizes for stealing her husband's life, and departs.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Kamala, you right.
They gonna do something with that. Man, you gonna listen. If Sign is gonna pop up in the Eternals, I'm gonna start reading the Eternals.
I wonder why she ain't pop up on old girl she was texting.
I thought about that too.
I guess she got, priorities and whatnot. So Zurus has been named Prime Eternal again. It looks like Eros gave that up. A little bit of surprise there. Thought they would have stuck with him for a while. But he gives it up, and then he pledges his Treaty of Alliance for all of the wrongs that Durik had. Storm wants to take his ass back to Arakko, as she should. As they're probably going to expect at some point. But it seems like your boy Durig has had the first part of his sentence that he's gonna spend with his grandpappy,
Look,
besides the exclusion.
you know the first thing I thought about. So you got to be with this dude for 10,000 years. So you his bunk mate.
Bruh, bruh. No
Like,
resurrection either. You see what he did to Rocco in an hour? You got to be there for an eternity, fam.
bro, you see how he reached out to him? Like, hey, let me holler at you real quick. Like, I got not. I've never been to prison, but I see this low key playing out like a prison story. Like, you the little dude, he the big dude.
Stop. That's his grandson. That's his grandson. I hope no nonsense like that's going
So he
on.
look, he'll beat his grandson. He will. So so if we think he'll kill his grandson, we don't. Never mind. Okay, I'm with you. Come on, let's go.
Yeah. So Storm actually raises a pretty good question on this next page to Zurich. He says, Zurich started the war basically by activating y'all's principles. What's to say that this is not going to happen again? And apparently, Durik's interpretation of those laws was a very conservative one. Who knew that Eternals weren't a monolith and, were able to have political ideology woven into their principles, or even a different interpretation of the principles? Who even knew that that was a thing? But he does seem to kind of, like you said, push off of that whole idea that mutants are deviants or Eternals, right? In these last few sentences, you mutants share DNA with the deviants. It's of little matter until a mutant triggers our psychological excess deviation response. You're not deviants in the way that counts. So again, it seemed like they were drawing a loose connection that they seemingly walked away from here. I don't understand that. I don't get that why.
I think in the grand scheme of things, um, humans, mutants, deviants, and eternals are all related. And so, at the very nature, at the very core, there is going to be a commonality that's shared, a common dream to share. I mean, aren't we related to dolphins? No.
So
I,
they say.
I mean, that's what they say. They say we related to dolphins. I could be wrong, but we related to chimps too, right? I don't, you know, it's us, and them too. So I guess, one of us is chimp, one of us is the dolphin.
Yeah. Let's see here. Where do we go next? Oh, big news. Probably the biggest news of the end of the book. He finally broke them down and made them give us that one thing that was special to them that they owned and created, and now they have to share it with everybody else. So now Jean Grey announces to the world that they're no longer going to be selfish with their gift and they're going to share. But it's only sick children that we're going to be reviving. Yeah, that's going to last about 2 or 3 issues.
Yeah, look, it will fail to be a talking point after 3 to 4 months.
About human resurrection?
Yeah,
No. I mean, it only being isolated to sick children will probably last a single issue of this book. Or not of this book, because this is getting ready to end, but of X-Men, wherever they first do it, it'll happen in that book, and it will immediately turn to shit. I'm calling it right now.
yeah, absolutely. It's got
I'm
to.
calling it right now. It's gonna immediately turn to poop. Somebody gonna buy it, and then it's gonna look like the mutants are being biased, and then everybody gonna hate y'all again. Now the one thing that they got going for them is that the Eternals had to march out there and put out the our resurrection kills you. Right? So they're enemy number one now. And the mutants may be enemy 1B. They may
Right.
just be a little bit down the list, but that helps them. If you caught it or not. Did you see the little boy with the Nimrod
I
balloon
did. I
and the
did.
T-shirt? So essentially, Nightcrawler's trade-off for them helping them win the Progenitor War was the good publicity for Orcus. Nah, fam. Nah, fam. Nah, fam. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I
Man,
don't even know, and maybe I missed one of the tie-ins where they play a more integral part. but I don't even know why they were necessary. Even seeing what they did, yeah,
We
they
got.
caused a bit of a distraction on the outside, but I just don't know if they were absolutely
I think
necessary.
this is more so for the story for the X-Men going forward. I think this is just for the sole purpose of the story going forward over there and everything like that. We tie it
Yeah.
into it. Clearly, Orchid is going to keep being a thorn in the X-Men side, and it's going to be something that's going to wind up upsetting me after some point in time because I stopped reading the X-Men originally because of the fact that you kept putting them in these heroic situations where they would save the Earth multiple times over and over and over again, but they would still be seen treated as pariahs amongst humanity. That storyline gets old. Well, I've been looking at Nimrod now since the 90s. Okay, y'all got a whole island. Y'all got a whole y'all got a whole planet. At some point in time, y'all got to move past Nimrod. Like I'm tired of looking at him.
But see, they haven't even gotten to the point where Nimrod is a real problem. Nimrod just came online in Inferno.
No, what
They
I'm saying.
haven't even gotten to a point. I understand you talking about from past comic runs and you've
Yeah,
seen him
like Nimrod
over
wasn't
and
a
over and over again.
when he first came on the scene. He was doing what he was doing now. When they was
I
with
think their ultimate ending point for him now, though, is a little bit more grand than what we've seen from him. Because in before the whole, powers of 10, 10 of sword, or powers of 10, and what am I? House of 10, House and Powers of 10, right?
Mhm.
Or of X. Before those books came out, Nimrod, before they kind of worked his origin into being the one and final threat of all of humanity, he wasn't that, right? He was kind of like a souped up Ultron.
No, that's what I'm saying. When he first stepped on the scene, I want to say with John Romita Jr. was drawing him.
Mm-hmm.
No, Nimrod wasn't playing with nobody. No. He
That's
was
what I
coming.
said. He's a more powerful version of Ultron.
Yeah, he wanted nothing but the X-Men, and they couldn't hide in the past. They couldn't hide in the future. They couldn't. No, he was coming to see about him. So it's like, I get it. You've updated him and everything like that, but you also updated the mutants. Like the X-Men roster now, that wasn't that X-Men roster back then. They were hiding out in Australia, in the wetback and everything, in the outback and everything like that. So you're basically giving me I get it. You're giving me a more superior version of Nimrod. Well, in giving me a more superior version of Nimrod, you also giving me a whole mutant nation and a whole mutant planet. And I know for a fact, some of these people on this planet could get rid of Nimrod like that. He wouldn't want to see them, even with
Ooh,
where he's at right now.
ooh.
I get it. They got the story going on, but I prefer Solaris. I prefer what they got going on with the 4 or 5 different
No,
Mississippi.
I'm saying who on Araco or Krakoa right now do you think could beat Nimrod? Because I
Oh,
don't think they're going in the. I should just let you finish. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish.
no. I mean, like when we say that, I mean, like if they were to go back because the mutants have access, if they say, well, we're gonna go back and go get Apocalypse and everybody that's over there on that side of the gate and everything like that, the dude would be in for a pretty tough fight.
But they lost though. They lost. That they tried that already. I think so. What they're building with Nimrod is not so much about Nimrod in his form right now, or the Nimrod that we know. Hit that through his ability to adapt, right, and come back and fight better. He's going to turn into something that's almost omnipotent, right? He ends up taking the new inheritance of the earth that are not mutant, not human, but some sort of human technological hybrid. And with Nimrod, they are going to put themselves into a like a phalanx or a collective. That's the ultimate goal, or that's the ultimate ending spot for Nimrod. I don't think it ends up being Nimrod itself, but its ability to perpetuate and to keep doubling and evolving time and time after again. He basically just outlasts them. And then when the humans link up with Nimrod and start, harvesting their parts and becoming half machine, half human, that's that next step in evolution along with them that ends up beating them out. I don't think it's going to be the knockdown, drag out, fight through the timelines that it was in some of those older comics with him.
I'm hoping not. I'm hoping not.
So we pretty much done with this one, man. Ajax again is the new progenitor god. It looks like her number one disciple is Makari. Captain America maybe getting a black girlfriend. Hope not. Um, let's talk about this one shot that's coming out this week. Let's see here. An ancient Wakandan threat is unleashed in the Black Panther Unconquered. Brian Edward Hill and Alberto Fonche. C-H-E is Che, right? Spanish? Alberto Fonche.
Right.
Team up for an epic new Black Panther one shot this November. Coming out this week. I'm pretty excited for this, man. The reason why is that most of the previews and the solicits that I've read and seen from this book, number one, it's T'Challa centered, right? Number two, it ain't John Ridley writing it. Number three, it looks like we are getting the dominant hand-to-hand fighter that we are accustomed to from T'Challa. Seems like we're going to get a story that is for and driven by him. And even if it is a one-shot, there's no doubt in my mind this thing outperforms the monthly from John Ridley this month. Not a question in my mind. Not a question in my mind.
So it's a one shot, right?
Yep.
John Ridley's not right.
No, Brian Edward Hill.
Okay, so one shot, John Ridley's not writing it. It comes out this Wednesday.
Yep.
So clearly T'Challa is still alive. But we have the movie coming out this Friday, if not Thursday, first thing Thursday, in which T'Challa is dying. You know how many mixed signals that is? Because we got the one shot, and the one shot is going to paint him in the light we're used to seeing him. But we still have Black Panther, the monthly run, which is dragging him. We also got Wakanda, which is a limited series, which is giving us up to date and catching us up on what Wakandan lore in and of itself. They really can't figure out what to do with this damn character, which is a damn shame. Like, you know how many different directions that is, just in print form.
It's really damaging to the title. Honestly, there's a lack of cohesion there. There's a lack of direction, lack of synergy. This is the company of synergy, right, between the films and the comics. I think some of the more recent pushes that you've seen in merchandising or even in getting this one shot, I think this got announced in August that they were going to be doing this. I do think they overestimated a little bit the how this would carry over to other parts of the merchandising, not just the movie. And so they know not to totally disaffect the main demographic that makes this title popular, which would be Black men, as to not totally disaffect that group. Throw just enough nuggets out there. Right? We're not gonna reverse course on the film, of course not.
Right.
Throw just enough out there to get you to pay for something Black Panther while all of this hype train is going around. I don't know if you saw it or not, but what's it called? Chill had a video where he was reviewing the latest Black Panther trailer. And Baku has a line in there and says the Black Panther lives. Now, to us, knowing everything that we know that's a farce. It's a red herring. To all of the casual fans, who some still, even to this point, at this later date, don't know that the T'Challa character is not going to be in this movie. That's what I believe they were signaling to. I do not think, just like they said, I don't think that they anticipated to get the blowback from the retiring of that character that they have gotten. And so they're finding small ways to try to acknowledge it without fully reversing course.
But what do you do though? So this is my question. So let's say me and you, we just stay in the comic book side of the house.
Mm.
How do you reconcile John Ridley's portrayal of the character with this
I
one shot?
don't. I just stopped reading it.
No, I'm saying like just in general.
Mm.
Because where the one shot takes place before John Ridley got involved, is it gonna take place in an alternate timeline, or alternate?
That's the thing. Yeah, I think right now it's probably not canon. And unless it becomes an ongoing, which God, Lee, I hope it. I really hope
That's
it
what I'm
does.
looking for to see. What's the whole purpose behind this story? Black Panther Unconquered. Okay, okay.
Because correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But if you believed in the confidence of the main book, there really wouldn't be like the Wakanda book. I understand because that's building on to what's already going on in John Ridley's book.
Right.
Right, it's giving another author a chance to try and help that out.
Right.
This has nothing to do with anything that's going on in John Ridley's book, at least from what I'm seeing so far. He may reference some things, he may pick some things up from the Coach run, who knows? But as from what we're seeing in the solicits, it doesn't seem like this is at all connected. Would you need that at this moment if you were confident in what was already going on the main title book?
No, you
You
wouldn't.
usually don't put out conflicting titles from a popular book.
No, you wouldn't. And to your point, the reason why it's such an issue and people might not realize it is because of the tone of the character in John Ridley's run is going to be completely different from the tone of the character in this particular person's run or the one shot. It's not the same when we talk about multiple Spider-Man titles where Peter Parker is still pretty much Peter Parker in each title. Bruce Wayne is still Bruce Wayne in each title. No, you're looking at a distinct difference in personality portrayal when you're looking at how this one shot is going to play out and what John Ridley has been doing since he stepped on the title. That's gonna be the damnest thing to me. But like you, I'll be getting the one shot, and I will definitely be giving people. If me and you want to do that, we grab that one shot and everything like that.
Oh, yeah,
Digest it.
yeah, yeah. No, get that. We definitely got it. That's why we're previewing it.
Jump
Yeah,
back
for
on
sure.
the next week. You know what I'm saying? Jump back on the next week and let people know, hey, this is what we got going on. And you and I are reviewed enough John Ridley Black Panther comic books where we can be able to talk about it in length as to the main differences between how those, T'Challa is written in both entities.
Yeah, I just look at the landscape, right? The last year when they started, was it Dawn or Destiny of X? One of them. The new push, right? They go by eras in the X office. And so when they restarted that, they put out a Marauders annual and a Marauders #1. They put out an X Force annual and an X Force #1. They had annuals that went along with the main storyline of the main book. Most of them were written by the author who was already doing the ongoing. I do think this is one of those things that if it sells, they'll probably run for it in lieu of Ridley's run. I don't know how anybody else's LCS looks, but the two things that you can guarantee are going to still be on the shelves the day after pool day, so the day after Wednesdays on Thursdays, the two things you can almost guarantee to see on them shelves is that damn Wakanda cookbook and issues of John Ridley's Black Panther. Very rarely sold out. It's gonna be there. Take your time. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So I just don't know what the sales look like online. I mean, maybe we could look that up at some point, but it doesn't seem like a vastly popular book.
It's like I said, I'm buying the book just because I want to keep up with stories. Nobody's gonna be able to tell me it went this way or it went that way. No,
Mm-hmm.
I got the stories and everything like that. I do believe it's a sad portrayal because I'm surely in this issue said yeah, and I'm like, that's how she talked, yeah. So
I've seen one excerpt where he was just T'Challa once again distraught, doesn't know what to do with himself,
yeah, yeah,
and
that's
and, and when she just tells him, "Who are you doing all that crying for? Get up and stop whining." I was like, "Oh
it's
man."
there's a lot of that in this book, and it's I don't know why we're going out of the way to where T'Challa has a lack of confidence.
He does not care for the character at all. And it's so obvious that he doesn't care for that character.
Here's
How
the
would you
thing.
write this book?
Well, watch this. Here's the thing. It's not just him. And as a black man, I got questions as to why do you going so far to disparage this character? It's no different than Roxanne Gay. And people like, well, Theo, why do you have why do you keep talking about Roxanne Gay? Because she wrote the story. She wrote the story in which Mbala was, harming women from Wakanda. She wrote the story in which the Queen Mother Ramunda locked up
Mhm.
Anika for killing Mbala, who's M'Baku's young. She wrote that story, but then she goes public and disparages T'Challa. You wrote that story. You threw the Queen Mother Ramunda under the bus, but you speak out against this character when this character had nothing to do with the flawness that was going. And that's why I look at it when I talk about everybody, even YouTubers that are comic book reviewers. Stop acting like T'Challa did this. T'Challa is a fictional character. Holler at the black writers who wrote him doing this, and then ask them what value do they see in themselves as black people. Because
Yeah.
the white writers write T'Challa with a whole lot more respect than the black writers do. That's the question that needs to be asked.
Yeah, I don't like segmenting it like that, but and I mean, and I can't say that you wrong because of the evidence that's there. I can't flat out say that you wrong. I just can't rest on the idea that, oh well, black people just can't write T'Challa.
And I would never say
You know what I
that.
mean? I can't do that.
I would never say that. It's like, when do you take ownership of this character though? Like
Sure,
the same
sure.
pride that Al Ewing would have in writing somebody else. I'm looking at my brothers and sisters, I'm like, because give me a Night Thrasher story. Give me that. Don't act like a
Yeah.
crab in a barrel with a fictional character. Own this fictional character like somebody else owns theirs. Write greatness in this character. Why is it the only thing you seem to do, which is crazy, because the way they write this character, the way John really doing this dude, I could really draw a comparison between how he write this dude and how somebody else wrote this dude on the big screen, how he likes to write. Why is this the only way you know how to tell a damn story? You don't have to do this. This ain't what we grew up on. And I said it once before, Marcus. I say it again. If this is your idea of a superhero story, stay your happy ass over there in the medium in which you've gotten all your accolades. Do not come over in the comic book genre passing that your stuff off as superhero material. It's not. It's not.
Yeah. So let's take a look at what Brian Edward Hill thinks about the book and the opportunity to write Black Panther. Right, Black Panther and Wakanda means so. This is a quote from where we at? I don't even know what publication this is. I guess it says Marvel.com. Okay, there we go. Marvel.com. And he says, does Edward Hill, Black Panther and Wakanda mean so much to people. It's an honor to contribute my imagination to the legacy of this character. He's starting out great because he realizes that the Black Panther title and T'Challa are tied together. So
Right.
we've already crossed the bar that I can't seem to get any other creatives that work for Disney to say. But so that's a good check for him.
Right.
Very grateful that I can only do comic projects that mean something to me personally. Another check mark. Great. Return to Marvel for this certainly does. Hopefully, it speaks to longtime fans of the character while also onboarding new readers into the world. Shall I say, why not Wakanda Forever? You'll just have to imagine me crossing my arms. I don't know if that was a shot. I don't know what that was. Let me read that again. Hopefully, it speaks to longtime fans of the character while also onboarding new readers into his world. Into his world, meaning T'Challa. Shall I say it? Why? Oh, okay, I get it. I get it. Shall I say it is the question, and he says, "Why not? Wakanda forever." Um, very T'Challa centered.
I
Very
read
T'Challa centered as it should be.
I read his Killmonger series. I did.
Did you? How'd you like it? I read Fallen Angels, and I did not hate that book as much as everybody else did. But it also wasn't good. I can say that. How was the Killmonger series?
Everything I can say for the first issue of Wakanda, I can appreciate someone who pays respects to what came before. I don't mind updating it, but pays respects to it, includes it, and ties it up so it's not just sitting out there as an empty thread. Like, I had trepidations about Wakanda and everything like that, but when we get to the back of the pages and we see how they're putting respect on Wakanda history and everything like that, it's like, okay, I can vibe with this. You tying everything together, you bringing it all together. So based on the story that he wrote before about Eric Killmonger, I got some pretty high hopes for what he's gonna do. I do.
Well,
I'm
I
to
was
my
gonna say to you, you know, the next issue of Wakanda is supposed to be the intergalactic empire in Baku. That's who they're following in the next issue.
yeah, yeah.
So, hey, look, you know what I mean? You not gonna catch me, beating down the polls for Stephanie Williams, but hey, look,
We gonna see.
that's a dub. That's a
Yeah.
dub because Ridley has not touched the intergalactic empire whatsoever. He
And
just
it's
acts
no,
like it doesn't exist, so he can tell these lame ass
like,
Buffalo Soldier stories.
do you know how noticeable it is for people that review comic books that don't interact with one another for it to be 10 issues in, I'm sorry, 11 issues in, and people looking at you like, what the hell happened to the intergalactic empire? Like, that's a big fail in and of itself. Like, I know you and Josh do your W's and L's and everything like that, but that's a huge error. That you have YouTubers that don't look alike, don't interact with one another, asking what happened to the intergalactic empire of Wakanda storyline.
Sure, because it was the most interesting thing that happened to Black Panther in the last like 4 years or so.
Yes.
Oh, hey, listen, I can't explain for John Ridley why he's chosen to bring up a Civil War age super villain for T'Challa to fight, instead of him having some intergalactic battles within his empire. But that's the way he's chosen to go. So hopefully, let's get this one to sell so we can get that main book canceled, boy, because I am about tired of that.
We're gonna make it do what it do. But yeah.
Sure, man. Y'all, I am pooped. I think we've been on here for 2 hours now.
I am too. I gotta go get something to eat, try and get this weight up and everything like that. So, put something in the
Sure,
stomach.
man. We got 18 people in the chat. That's
Yeah.
the most we never had in a live stream for sure. And this was last minute. I definitely appreciate everybody that was able to make it in, and rock with us for a little while. Um, Try to
We
give
gonna
you a little bit more notice next time for sure.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it. If we're not busy, if Marcus don't have anything going on next Sunday and I don't have anything going on next Sunday, we are going to come back to y'all with that book. We're going to review that book. We're going to get it this Wednesday. We're going to digest it, go over it and everything like that. We're going to come back again to y'all next week, Sunday. So y'all make sure y'all got y'all notification bell on. We'll let y'all know.
Look out for the day. It may
Yeah.
be Sunday, it may not be. It'll be sometime in the weekend though.
Y'all better
Friday,
follow us on
Saturday,
Twitter.
Sunday, somewhere in there, huh?
They better follow us on Twitter. Follow Back of the Bus on Twitter so you get that notification. Back of the Bus on YouTube so you get that notification. Back of the Bus on Instagram so you get that notification. I don't think he's on. I don't think he's on Facebook yet because I've been looking. But
Yeah, no, man. I can't. I can only keep up on so many social medias. I can't get back on Facebook. I can't do it to myself.
y'all better stay alert because we're gonna come back to y'all with that.
For sure, man. Two really good books. We got X-Men Red. We got the Judgment Day #6 finale. We had a preview today of Brian Edward Hill's one shot Wakanda Unconquered, or excuse me, Black Panther Unconquered. A lot of good stuff for the Repay Gang. We appreciate y'all as well. We appreciate everybody that showed up.
Before y'all go, we're trying to get to 600. So y'all, when I say we talk about Theo B. I ain't saying. I'm just saying. I think we are.
Get there. I don't know which way I'm going, but get there for sure.
Yeah. So
Make sure y'all go like, share, subscribe, everything over there.
Hey, y'all help a brother out. I ain't saying black business. We trying to do some stuff here.
So man, get him going over there. We got 20 people in the chat. We should have 20 more subscribers. This is probably some of your subscribers too right now. But I appreciate y'all, man. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe, and we'll be back next week.
We will. We will. I ain't saying. I'm just saying. Peace.
Oh, my boy banged. All right, cool.